If 200 crore is invested in 100 companies, and if even one bet goes right, how much money will you make?
Say 50,000 crores.
Mr. Aviral Bhatnagar, who's the founder of a venture capital fund, has done the dream journey of going to IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, and is today managing hundreds of crores while investing in the fastest growing companies of India.
A lot of financial focused people, they speak a lot in ki this company is the best. Dude, you can't know. It's not possible. The best fund probably would be the Sequoia Google fund. Their death rate in that fund was 85%. If they did 100 companies, 85 of them dead.
When the whole world is talking about AI, it's very difficult to put India in that top 3, top 5 zone. So according to you, how screwed are Gen Zs in India?
I think that in the next year, heavily exposed to AI countries are going to get hit very hard. I feel that humans will become cool again. The requirement for engineers will 10x because now people will be working with so much code. Every company will need more and more engineers.
Tell me some themes in India which we think will do well. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 1% Club Show. This is the first time I'm getting a guest who's the founder of a venture capital fund. This is a person who is just 35 years old, has done the dream journey of going to IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, and is today managing hundreds of crores while investing in the fastest growing companies of India. Mr. Aviral Bhatnagar, welcome to the 1% Club Show.
Thank you, Sharan. Good to be here. Have been listening to what you've been sharing for so long.
And I've been reading about what you've been sharing for so long.
Thank you. Love your journey and so inspiring as well.
No, thank you so much, Aviral, for making out time out of your busy schedule. I know you live in Pune.
Yes.
And you don't really go out of Pune.
Yes.
You're almost a one-man army running this large fund. So before I get to what you're doing today, I want to touch upon your journey.
Sure.
Right? Your journey is the typical Indian middle class dream journey.
Right.
Study hard, get the top marks, get into IIT. You didn't just get into an IIT, you went into IIT Bombay, which is the most competitive IIT. Then you didn't take a break. You directly went into IIM Ahmedabad, which is the toughest IIM to get into. You got a 99.99 percentile.
Yes.
And then you joined private equity back before when it was cool.
Right.
And then today, at the age of 35, you're the founder of a VC fund.
Right.
And I think you're managing about 200 crores, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct.
So tell me about this journey. Like, how were you thinking about your career back then?
Right.
What are the jobs that you were looking at?
Right. So maybe I'll rewind a little bit. थोड़ा सा पीछे चले जाते हैं जिससे context मिल जाए. I actually wanted to study history when I was growing up in 8th, 9th grade. I told my parents कि मुझे historian बनना है because I used to love reading books. I still read like lots of books. There's a huge bookshelf in my house with hundreds of books. And my dad and mom are like, ठीक है, but
पैसे का कैसे बनेगा?
They said exactly that. They're like, ठीक है, मतलब पर पैसे नहीं मिलते हैं ज़्यादा इसमें. So, as every kid, you're left with two options, engineering and medicine. And I'd heard about the IITs from my parents, not in this, it's an hallowed place, but more like we found very interesting people. My parents would constantly keep talking about their friends, who did very interesting things, how smart they were. Many of them are people I met too. So I was like, हाँ ठीक है चलो, I think ये अच्छा पाथ लग रहा है, इधर try करते हैं. So I ended up, getting a decent rank, joined IIT Bombay, engineering physics लिया. They teach you a lot of theoretical physics from scratch combined with an exposure to electrical engineering.
So like Sheldon Cooper.
Like Sheldon Cooper, correct. Exactly like Sheldon Cooper. So a lot of the stuff that he says, I understand because I studied it.
Okay.
One of the most beautiful things I studied in college was quantum mechanics. It taught me that uncertainty is a feature and not a bug. But I started to think of the world in probabilities and uncertainties rather than certainties and ऐसे ही होता है, right? And I think physics taught me that. It's classical mechanics is very interesting in one way, but quantum mechanics is so different in terms of how you have to approach things.
Have you ever wondered how much money you need to retire based on your monthly expenses and your investment growth rate? Do you know what is your retirement age? This question bothered me for the last 10 years. So I thought, why don't I just build an app around this? So at the 1% Club, we are now launching our fintech app powered by AI. This is the first time AI is being fed on your own personal financial information and giving you advice like a professional money manager. Head over to the 1% Club app right now, install it, track your FIRE number, and invest money like a professional money manager. It's completely free of cost, so try it right now.
And I think by the time I reached my 4th year, there was a critical decision I had to make. So the decision to stay in India was not made after IMA, it was made before IMA. Because I had got a job at this firm called Monitor, which is now part of Deloitte. It's called Monitor Deloitte, and they used to recruit one person. And that one person used to go to HBS. Like, it was a standard thing. One of the founders of Monitor is Michael Porter, the Porter 5 Forces guy. So you have this path to, go to Harvard, or you stay in India. And I was like really wondering कि क्या करना है, क्योंकि मेरे सब दोस्त जो बोलते थे and the seniors would be like, you have to go to HBS or you have to go to Stanford or something like that. But then we had this long discussion about where I would see myself in 10 years and where I'd like to be in 10 years. And then the overwhelming answer was India mein rehna hai. That's where the future is going to be.
But I'm confused. How did India back then beat a career after going to Harvard Business School and living in the US? Not. How did India beat through your analysis?
Yeah, it did not. So that's why I said कि 10 साल बाद का सोचना है and not immediately. Immediately, तो there was a no-brainer. There were no private equity jobs. There were like very little private equity jobs, barely any VC jobs. But I thought कि in 10-15 years time, where is the trajectory going to be steeper? Like, is it going to be India or is it going to be the US? For me personally. And my expectation at that time, and this is of a 21-year-old kid, so it's not super wise and all, but कुछ तो सोच रहा था future के बारे में.
When you mean trajectory, are you looking at your personal wealth or do you looking at your
personal growth?
Personal growth.
Yeah.
But what is personal growth?
Yeah, I'll tell you personal growth. So the interesting thing about me, although I'm a person who is deploying money into startups, is that wealth has never been a primary motivator for me in life. It has always been trying to be with very interesting people and get exposed to things that are happening at the edge. My future forecast was that all the action is going to happen in Asia. And I actually wrote a piece called Long India in 2021, which was a culmination of all these thoughts. But the core of my question and the question that my dad posed to me in some way was, future kahan hai? And in this piece called Long India, where all of this got articulated later, but I had it in my head, was where are the most number of high energy people going to be in the world? It's a very simple framing, but it's quite powerful. So if you look at India today, we have the largest millennial population. We have the largest population as well. My hypothesis is that a group of young people will figure their way out to do something interesting. This was a hypothesis I made 12 years ago.
Group of hungry young
people, yes. And people underestimate young Indians a lot. They think, "Yare, kya kar rahe hain? Kuch nahi karte hain." But no, I'm at that edge where I see a lot of young Indians, and I think the ambition has never been higher. And your Long India piece, I have articulated my reasoning on why I believe this. And, it has always, history repeats itself and it has happened in the past as well.
So tell me about some of the mental models that you probably have in your head. Sure. Because you've been analyzing businesses for so long.
Yes.
You've been a VC for almost 10 years now.
Yes.
So along that journey of talking to hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs, going through financials, business models, strategies,
right,
analyzing them in a critical manner, tell me some mental models in your head,
right,
of what you believe are the right way of looking at a business. Like, give me like those hard-hitting conclusion lines, which
Yeah.
you are now convinced
Yeah.
that based on my experience of 10 years,
Yes.
ये ऐसा ही है.
One of the reasons why I think a fund like mine should exist is because ये ऐसा ही है is patently false. Nobody can know the future about investing at the stage at which I invest. And I will only talk about how to evaluate companies at my stage, which are actually not even companies, they're like
Ideas.
three people with idea. Three people with idea. So how do you evaluate that? That is, I think, a rare skill in some sense, because public markets, there are lots of people involved, and it's a different beast. It's almost like quantum mechanics and classical mechanics. There's a very big parallel between the two. So I started to realize कि ये जो uncertainty है इस stage में, you have to figure out a way to play it. And you cannot play it by company. You cannot say कि हे मैंने शरण की कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट किया है, मुझे 100% सर्टेनिटी है कि शरण 100x करेगा. मुझे बट ये सर्टेनिटी है कि अगर मैंने 100 शरण्स में इन्वेस्ट किया तो उनमें से एक शरण निकल जाएगा. So my job is not to find Sharan. My job is to find 100 Sharan-like founders in different spaces. And I'll tell you why this matters in VC and not classical mechanics, or like quantum mechanics versus classical mechanics. Because VC has this power law thing, and you must have seen it in Instagram as well. So Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi का जो follower difference है, that is Lionel Messi and the last person in Instagram. उतना difference है, मतलब ballpark. 300 million, 900 million, whatever, like first and second. I'm just ballpark example. But the gap between the first and second is more than second and the rest of the world, which is also in wealth. Like you can see Elon Musk is
1 trillion.
1 trillion, right? I think I don't know who is the second now.
I think Jeff Bezos.
Hoga, but Bezos is closer to the poorest person on earth than Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
With power law. So the power law is everywhere, by the way. It's there in anything where there's compounding. You will find power law in wealth, in fame, all these things. Power also.
It's mathematics.
Yes. And there's all, quantum behavior goes and expresses itself sometimes in these ways. Now, startups में क्या होता है कि आपने कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट किया at a very, entry when they're just starting. So say a valuation of 15-20 crores or something like that. If just that one company is worth 20,000 crores, it doesn't matter what you did in the rest of the 99. Now, taking the probability and uncertainty principles that I have, because I don't know which company that will be, I have to get exposure to companies at this stage in a very systematic manner. So the way I've structured my fund is that I come in very early, I underwrite the maximum risk, but I'm doing it across a lot of companies so that my probability of getting a breakout is more than 50%. That's why the portfolio is structured that way. Because today, because of the uncertainty, I cannot know which company it will be, but I can say कि इस group of companies में से कोई निकल जाएगा. Similarly, when you look at quantum states, उसमें से एक state में कोई निकल जाएगा, निकलता है actually वैसे ही होता है with a low probability. So the individual particle has a very low probability. So let's say India में from a company that's unfunded to unicorn, the probability is like 0.2% or something.
I think there are only 4 companies in India which have done that.
Unfunded to unicorn means through the fundraising way, not bootstrap to unicorn. But you're right about bootstrap to unicorn. I'm saying that if you start from zero stage पे, then you have to raise a pre-seed, seed, etc. तो pre-seed का भी एक probability होता है to be able to raise it. फिर seed का एक probability होता है if you have raised a pre-seed.
Okay. You're saying for a company to raise money till becoming unicorn,
yes,
that probability is 0.2%.
That's right.
So 0.2% of companies which raise money actually become a unicorn.
That's right. It's so impossible almost, right? So the hard part is actually finding those companies that are investable, to be able to get so many companies to invest. And this is what quantum physics or physics taught me. Ki think of life in uncertainty and probability rather than certainty and probability. A lot of financial focused people, they speak a lot in ki this company is the best. Dude, you can't know. It's not possible. क्योंकि आप अगर सबसे अच्छा फंड लेंगे in the history of VC, the best fund probably would be the Sequoia Google fund. Their death rate in that fund was like 85%.
Okay.
Which means that 80, if they did 100 companies, 85 of them dead.
Go to zero.
Yeah, but they would have obviously thought that they are not going to go to zero. That's why they invested in them, right? So my point being that if you embrace this and this probability and this is how the world works and uncertainty at this stage of investing, you will think of the world very differently.
So right now you are managing 200 crores.
Yes.
So if one of these companies become unicorn,
Yes.
you have how much? 50 companies you'll invest in.
I have invested till date to 40, but I will invest in more than 100 or about 100.
About 100.
Yes.
So that way your probability of success becomes even more.
Yeah, I keep trying to make it higher.
Okay.
That's right.
So if this 200 crore is invested in around 100 companies,
Yes.
and if even one bet goes right,
Yes.
how much money will you make?
So if one company say usually वो unicorn पे 10,000 crore पे रुकता नहीं है, the average is about 32,000 crore.
Okay.
अगर कोई ऐसा outcome हो गया, and then I'm looking 10 years in the future. So I'm assuming this will be more than 30,000 crores because India will be bigger and all. My funda is ki in a growing country, to get to 10,000 crores, it will be a smaller percentage of GDP or wealth or whatever. So let's say 50,000 crores, right?
Okay.
And 50,000 crores may, let's say I own 2%.
Okay. 2% because of dilution every round.
Dilution. That's 1,000 crores
Okay.
in one company.
So why be in India for this, right? Like I understand that you saw, 10 years back that the potential for growth is much higher in India.
Yeah, right.
But today when I look at the ground level reality, it's very difficult for me to think that about the future. Number one. Number two is that when the whole world is talking about AI,
Right.
it's very difficult to put India in that top 3, top 5 zone when it comes to AI. And then when I see the currency depreciating, how are you so bullish on India still?
So a couple of things I think people are generally missing. So from that position when I decided कि India में रहना है, to today, we have about 4x मोटा मोटा, मतलब maybe 3.6, 3.7, right? I don't think there's going to be anything that stops us to 2x or 3x from here to get to a 10 trillion in some time frame, maybe 15 years or whatever. I mean, there's a government obviously has a more aggressive time frame, but ये हो जाएगा. Now
10 trillion होने के लिए.
10 trillion होने के लिए. I mean, so there's that Lindy's law, I think, which is that Lindy's law, or one of the laws, I cannot remember which one it is, but the law that says that जो हो रहा है होता रहेगा. So India has a wheel that is turning and it will keep turning. So currency depreciation, AI. So let's start with AI. I think there is a transition of power happening in the world.
Yes.
It always happens.
You studied history.
Yeah, I study history. And history teaches you a lot of things because while technology might keep coming and going, human behavior, we have evolved over millions of years. We will not lose the core behaviors of a human being, which is your emotions like anger, greed, fear, etc. And that drives a lot of human behavior. That is why history repeats itself, because human beings do the same things when similar things happen to them. राइट जो बबल जो बनते हैं वो इसीलिए बनते हैं क्योंकि ग्रीड आती है, और फिर फटता क्यों है क्योंकि फियर आता है. These things keep happening. You don't know which the bubble will be, but it will happen. So history repeats itself, and that's why you should, observe history and look at things that happen. So there's a transition of power happening. My view is that the US is fighting very hard to remain one with China in the mix, and it's not a very clear transition that is happening. Like there were, when Britain became the most powerful, or when the Dutch became the most powerful, they became very clear hegemons. Like they were the dominant power, but abhi ऐसे लग नहीं रहा है कि China ऐसे उठा लेगा. Now, the AI push is very much linked with US asserting its dominance as a technological power in the world. I think that in the next year, heavily exposed to AI countries are going to get hit very hard, which is not India. So, which is the US largely, because there's been so much investment in this AI future, which is going to happen, by the way. The question is not that wo hoga ki nahi, wo kitne jaldi hoga is what everyone is pricing in, right? Like when you've seen companies like Anthropic or OpenAI, more specifically Anthropic, in a 4-year time frame becoming worth 1 trillion, that, and even the founder has himself said ki I have to keep growing at this rate for me to justify this valuation, which is some bonkers number, like 50-80%, right? It's not possible at that scale. And a lot of people have started asking these questions ki, hey, am I overspending on tokens? Or is this cost justified? Should I get a human back into the mix because I'm spending like $100,000 on Claude, right? And these questions have started coming. This is the early signs of that. I think the reverse, jo up trade hota hai, jo again, there are so many stories. There's a story of Icarus who gets wings, flies up to the sun, and then because they're made of wax, they melt and he falls and dies. The story of Icarus. Ye startups mein bhi hota hai. Ye in situations mein bhi hota hai. So there will be companies that have scaled really fast and they will come down also really fast because this AI trade will do the unwinding. Now, because India is not exposed right now on the positive side, it will also not be exposed on the negative side. I feel that humans will become cool again is going to happen in the next year. And India is very well structured to be a services country. Like we are very proficient with English. We are engineering technically sound and we know how to deliver stuff. And we'll find ourselves in a good place. I think a lot of people will be like, dude, AI can't do this. And I'm sure you have worked with it. I have worked with it. A lot of my fund has large language models or AI systems being used. But there's a certain point where you see that there is a human judgment needed and the AI cannot do this. At the end of the day, the cost has to justify it, right? And the cost is basically energy. And human beings are the most energy efficient systems, intelligent systems that still exist on Earth. So my view hai ki while we are feeling like, oh, this AI pressure is there and the currency depreciation and things like that are there, AI specifically, we will play a very different role and we will play it very differently. It will almost be like IT services 2.0. I think in 10-15 years, there'll be a different kind of Infosys, which is probably being built today. I don't know, or 3-4 साल से जिंदा है, but वो scale करने वाला है. That will be very large in the next 15-20 years. So I'm not too worried about AI, one.
Which means you're not bullish on AI.
No, I'm bullish on AI. I'm just not bullish on the format of AI that people are bullish on, which is, as of today, AI labs.
So today I get a lot of, some of my friends, younger siblings, they're really worried about, what to do next if AI is going to take away all the jobs.
Right.
So according to you, how screwed are Gen Zs in India? What are they supposed to do now?
It's very like the 2007-2008 financial crisis in my head, where there were a lot of MBAs and finance people who are suddenly jobless or don't have any jobs. So I have a senior from Ahmedabad who was the last batch hired by Lehman Brothers before they went under. So they took like a boatload of people, maybe like 15-20, और सबको उस time पे 200K या कुछ दे रहे थे. मतलब it's a bonkers money at that time. And then the company goes under and then suddenly these 20 offers that are there, they evaporated, right? I think we are in a similar phase here where the kind of job that worked in the past is now under question. It isn't that investment banks or investment bankers, and you yourself have done finance, has become redundant. It's just that it has resized, and these people are doing something else. So if I look at the Lehman Brothers bankers of 2008, today they are probably Blackstone private equity guys, right? That's the top tier, or PVC is like the top tier stuff. Similarly, I think engineering में भी वही हुआ है, where a lot of people have become engineers seeing this rush, and now everybody is questioning कि engineers की ज़रूरत होगी कि नहीं. Now, I don't know how this will play out, but I have two hypotheses. One is that...
Shit, what worries me is that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I have told you before also in the podcast itself that you can never know the future. I can just hypothesize कि क्या होने वाला है. I have two approaches here. One is जो Jevons paradox है, which a lot of people say.
What is that?
Jevons paradox. So Jevons paradox basically says that contrary to general expectation, if there is a new technology whose cost drops, its usage increases more than when its cost was higher. So like electricity, steam engine, etc. All these things. Now AI. So one argument for Jevons paradox is that the requirement for engineers will 10x, because now people will be working with so much code that अब सबको engineer और चाहिए होगा. Every company will need more and more engineers. You cannot work without,
Yeah.
That's one
I think one insight or one proof of this is that consulting companies are now hiring from engineering colleges.
That's right.
And not from MBA colleges.
That's right. So yeah, even finance firms are hiring from engineering colleges and so on and so forth, right? So that's one hypothesis which I think could play out. Actually, it's more likely to play out. The other is the demand for engineering goes down. Human beings find something else to do. So this reinvents itself into something else. And I think that aspect of human beings, which is how we've got here as a species, is that we are very capable of reinventing ourselves. For example, the thing that you do, which is you are an influencer, you are a creator, you have an entire ecosystem built around content. This was a non-existent thing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like literally just 1 decade ago. When I was thinking on, तो कोई creator था ही नहीं, right?
Yeah.
और या फिर celebrities थे. So, and it's become a fairly stable, maybe not predictable that way, but a lot of people can do their livelihood in this path.
Yeah. So tell me some themes in India which you think which we think will do well, and it was not obvious according to you. For the masses, when they hear this, it's not very obvious to see that, oh, this kind of businesses will do well going forward. What are those non-obvious things? Because that is where the money is going to be made, because non-obvious is less competitive means higher probability of success.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what those are?
Yeah, one I think is AI-led services. A lot of people think India reh gaya. I mean, my contrarian view is India is very well placed to do it. And AI-led services means one, deployment of AI, but also services powered by AI.
So basically, human powered with AI as a service.
That's right.
That's
or
the model.
Implementing AI somewhere, etc. The combination of this is one theme that I feel like a lot of people are not believing India kar payega, but India will definitely do.
Sure.
I have a very interesting framing which I use in terms of identifying where opportunities are. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have spoken about this before as well. But India is a very interesting market where people have needs across the 5 levels. I'd say we are at like safety wala level. We have gone from physiological needs, which is basics, to more like, okay, now I need to be, take care of what I already have. I have something to protect. And her stage mein, there will be a lot of interesting companies being built, because India has markets and all. Self-actualization mein bhi hai, belonging mein bhi hai, safety mein hai, physiological bhi hai. So I'll talk through like some. So maybe this one that I was talking about is almost like a skilling and self-actualization economics related.
So I think for that you need to explain what is Maslow's law of hierarchy. I know what you're talking about, but maybe you can explain those 3 levels.
So there are 5 levels actually. Maslow's hierarchy of needs fundamentally says that human beings have a hierarchy of needs that till the first level of the hierarchy is not met, they will not progress to the second one. Human beings obviously don't behave in such, discrete ways.
Yeah.
Because entertainment is also a need, and food is also a need.
Yeah.
Sab hota hai usme.
Yeah.
But you can kind of bucket people.
But you don't think about entertainment before you're
That's right.
not
Although
hungry.
Funnily enough, there was this.
That's why we eat food first. We put food on our plate first and then we watch TV.
Yes. But interestingly, there was this study done by Abhijit Banerjee, who is a Nobel Prize winner. He found in Mexico that if given $100 to people, they would buy a TV before they got food, because they would rather not be bored than die of hunger. So it's human beings are so complicated, right? I mean, you would think that they would want food first, but that's not true.
Now they want entertainment first.
Not now. It's always been like that, because boredom is very hard to live with. I mean, they would prefer spending.
No, actually, you're right. People would pick alcohol over food.
Probably, yes.
And people who like to have fun.
Numbs you or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So you have your basic needs, then you have physiological needs, then you have safety, then you have love and belonging, then you have self-actualization. I mean, they use different kind of phrasing for this. Mota, these are your needs. And you can look at almost every company and place it somewhere.
Maybe Zomato comes under the level
yes,
one.
on food. Yes,
Food.
Physiological needs. Then you would have maybe like a grower zero da. They are more like safety, financial safety.
That is level 2.
Level 2, वैसे. I mean, sometimes it's level 2, sometimes level 3. It's like,
Okay.
it's a bit fuzzy. That's why I said five levels. Then you have self-actualization, which is like, I have everything. I am Cristiano Ronaldo. What are my needs? I want to be a
Exclusivity.
ekdam matlab upar. So then you'll have a lot of your luxury solutions that are catering to people who have everything solved for themselves.
What are they? Are there any businesses in India which cater to that?
Like a Soho house. Right? Although it solves a belonging problem specifically, but it's people who have a lot of access who want more exclusivity. Like clubs, for example, is a very interesting mix of belonging and self-actualization. You are like feeling that you made it, and then you have this like, जैसे Pune में भी है, Bombay में भी है, lots of these.
Are you part of any clubs?
No. I don't believe in this. I find मेरे लिए किताबें से self-actualization होता है, सोचने से. So for people, it's like very different things. Ideas can, result in self-actualization, writing, there's so many things. But they also get combined with something else. I'm thinking, like, if you want to look at a really pure self-actualization thing, it is an elevation of your mind. I mean, that's how that is like, there's no material thing involved in it. It's just that, how people have talked about Gautam Buddha. He sat and he attained enlightenment. He is on Maslow's hierarchy of needs at the top. He has transcended everything, right? So that is self-actualization, where you have, gone beyond all the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in some sense. So I don't think you can make a business out of it necessarily, but people are able to make businesses out of everything. But India mein har level pe hota hai. So like AI is one. Then I think I keep saying again and again that the plumber in urban company is making as much as Infosys entry level person today, right? And then they say, oh, life mein growth nahi hai uska, and it is true, by the way. I mean, you cannot become a manager of a plumber, but I think blue collar workforce, one, specifically in India, and second, exported from India, is going to be a huge trend. Like people looking for nurses, it's already started happening, by the way. People looking for nurses, people looking for electricians, carpenters, they're going to be in short supply globally. And India is going to be a very big hub, both domestically as well as bahar.
Basically high dexterous activities.
Yes, which machines cannot do. And you will see that incomes of these people will spike because the supply will be less, demand will be huge. And that is what you can see right now in terms of like parity from a standpoint of how much an Infosys person makes versus how much a urban company ka person makes.
Economics, the market forces are showing it already.
That's right. Then the third is, I think sovereign technology is an interesting play.
What does that mean?
So what has happened in the world over the last 5 years is people have become, like countries have become aggressive, which means they want to fight. It's also usually a sign of a down cycle that people are fighting क्योंकि लोग झगड़ने लगते हैं जब
There's scarcity of resources.
That's right, absolutely. जब पाई छोटा हो गया तो लोग झगड़ने लगते हैं. In fact, I say that when you start seeing bad news of startups coming, a downturn is coming. So like a founder gets fired from the board and things like that. There's a sign कि market गिरने वाला है, startup market. When startup markets are not very easily priced, you can't see the price. So you have to look at all of these, signals which are not that visible. So when the pie is shrinking, people start fighting a lot more, and that's why I think a lot of these wars are happening, because we are in this weird kind of bull market in some area, but generally recessionary. So if you remove AI from the US, like if you remove all the growth that has come from AI, they're actually flat or declining, the rest of the economy, which means that scarcity situation hai. So because of this, countries have become inward, also trading less and stuff. So there will be a need, one, to build defense systems which are your own, but also technology which is your own, which cannot be compromised. So let's say, I think drones are going to pick up in a big way, not just for fighting, but just generally like moving stuff around.
Yeah.
A lot of it, or almost all of it, is imported. अब ये इसका पूरा system कौन बनाएगा? किसी को तो बनाना पड़ेगा. Then you have guns, you have satellites, space, any machinery that's moving around. There'll be
a lot. Space companies will do well in India also.
Space companies, so India is very interesting space position given its GDP per capita is so low, but its ranking in space is like so high.
Yeah.
It's one of the only
anomalies.
Yes, countries to be able to even think of sending people to the moon, right? Only China, US and Russia when it used to be a big power. So defense, space, but even just technology that is being used day to day in sensitive situations, that will also need indigenous companies building for them. That's also an opportunity. जहाँ पे मुझे लगता है कि बहुत सारे startups आएंगे और interesting theme है.
Perfect. I think Aviral, let's end the conversation on that note.
Okay.
I think it's a beautiful journey.
Thank you.
Of this conversation, starting from being the dream child that every Indian mother wants.
Thank you.
To analyzing what India is today and what it can be, and looking at what the future opportunities lies for the younger generation of this country.
Right.
I think a very high IQ conversation. 90% contributed by you, obviously.
No, dude.
Have you ever checked your IQ?
I think I did. It was pretty high.
155.
Something like that.
So yeah, I like having high IQ conversations. So I learned a lot.
High IQ questions also. And I think
Thank you.
It's very hard to ask the right questions. In fact, if you want to ask me what I believe is the greatest skill, it is asking the right questions.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the conversation. If you've been listening to this till the end, then I'm sure you're a high IQ person as well, because attention span is a very, very highly sought after skill in today's world. So thank you so much for watching till the end. And please feel free to drop any future guest recommendations down in the comment section below. On that note, I'll see you in the next one.
Before you go, guys, if this video gave you even one insight and made you feel differently about money, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends or family member who could use it too. And if it has sparked a new thought or even made you disagree with me, drop a comment below and tell me why. Your critique helps me make this conversation sharper and more useful for you. As long as you have me subscribed, I'll make sure that you walk away with one new thing every Wednesday and Saturday.